Hello, and getting right into topic one. Based on your understanding of Heisberg's two-factor theory of job satisfaction, what types of incentives or employee programs are most likely to reduce job dissatisfaction? What types of incentives or employee programs are most likely to increase job satisfaction? So Heisberg's two-factor theory of emotion says that certain things within the environment or the workplace will lead to job satisfaction, whereas other things will lead to job dissatisfaction. There are two things that influence employee behaviors and job satisfaction, which are hygiene factors and motivators. Hygiene factors are sources of job satisfaction. They are anything within the workplace or the organization that will decrease the rates of job dissatisfaction. Hygiene factors are the needs and or wants that employees feel should be met at the workplace, and making sure these hygiene factors are adequately met or taken care of will decrease job dissatisfaction. The same way that not taking care of these hygiene factors will increase the rates of job dissatisfaction within an organization. So job security, working conditions, and quality of supervision are just a few examples of hygiene factors. Moving on to motivators, they are the factors in the workplace that create more creative, productive, and committed employees, essentially increasing an employee's motivation to meet or even exceed the standards of their work duties. A few examples of motivators include recognition, promotion, and flexibility. When it comes to incentives or employee programs that are likely to increase job satisfaction, the first thing that comes to mind is compensation. Being fairly compensated, whether by wage or salary, is extremely important to everyone because lots of people who feel like they are overworked and underpaid will likely be unsatisfied with their job. For many people, monetary compensation is the number one deciding factor for a job. So to increase employee job satisfaction, you'd want to make sure the pay is enough by having employees complete surveys and also looking at the compensation of similar jobs. For me, my job is fairly easy. However, it's very physically demanding and the workload is huge. There's usually more work than time I'm allowed to get the workload done. So having to put my body through so much just to meet the standards makes me deserving of more pay, at least in my eyes. And the whole situation also makes me feel as if I'm overworked and underpaid. After having spoken to multiple managers and seeing that nothing is being done, I will be putting in my 2 weeks exactly 2 weeks from today. I wouldn't be leaving my job if I was satisfied with how I'm being paid, how I'm being compensated. Another way to increase employee job satisfaction is to offer services that promote healthy well-being, whether physically or mentally. Unfortunately, living a healthy lifestyle is unaffordable and unaccessible to many. So the key to doing something like this is making it so that this kind of lifestyle is more attainable. And this can be done by having wellness programs that include free or discounted access to gyms. Also, discounts on better quality food would help a lot because food, especially fresh things, tend to be more expensive, even meats. The company that I work for offers things like these. We have a 15% discount on everything in the store, but the percentage does increase to 35% off for things for fresh fruits and vegetables, also frozen as well. We also get the discount on workout gear, some workout gear. So knowing that I have all of this available to me does make me feel as if the company actually cares for me and my well-being, which in turn does increase my satisfaction of being an employee here. Next, compare McClelland's acquired needs theory and its emphasis on needs being shaped by experience and cultural background over time to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and ERG theory. Of these two theories, which do you think provides the most useful and realistic explanation for human development and motivation? Why? So all these theories have something to do with motivation. The difference just lies in how the theory suggests that we get motivated and also the different categories of said motivation. McClelland's acquired needs theory basically just says that an individual's needs comes with time as they are a result of their life experiences, which does explain why a person's needs tend to change over the span of their lifetime. McClelland's theory is then expanded by saying that humans have three basic needs: the need for power, the need for achievement, and the need for affiliation. People being motivated by the need for power is very simple. It's the need to have control over and influence others. Being motivated by the need for achievement is liking to set and accomplish goals, just accomplishing things in general. Those that are motivated by affiliation want to belong to some sort of group, and within that group, they want to be well liked. Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains that there are 5 categories that motivate a person. It is visually represented as a pyramid of needs, and it is thought that an individual must successfully meet a lower level need at the bottom of the pyramid before being able to attempt to satisfy another. So from the bottom of the pyramid to the top, the 5 needs are physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, the need for esteem, and self-actualization. So physiological needs are the things that your body requires for survival. So oxygen, food, water, shelter, and sleep are examples of physiological needs. Safety needs are the things a person requires to feel secure and safe. For example, emotional and financial security. By nature, humans are social creatures, and many of us need human interactions. We need relationships with others, which is where love and belonging needs come into play. Esteem needs sort of piggybacks off of love and belonging because most of us have a desire to be both respected and accepted. Esteem needs include self-esteem, confidence, and achievements. Self-actualization is sort of the need to meet your full potential. It's becoming aware of who you truly are. The ERG theory is similar to Maslow's theory in that the needs are also arranged in the form of a hierarchy. However, instead of saying that motivation, there are 5 factors of motivation, the ERG theory says that there are only 3 categories of need that motivate people. Existent needs, which are similar to Maslow's psychological, physiological, and safety needs. Relatedness needs, which are similar to Maslow's love and belonging needs. And lastly, growth needs, which are comparable to Maslow's esteem needs and self-actualization needs. Another difference is that the ERG theory suggests that although some needs are higher than others, if a person cannot fulfill a lower level need, they will move on to the next and vice versa, which suggests that needs do not need to be satisfied in any particular order, so we can satisfy different levels of needs at the same time or in any order depending on individual circumstances. Answering the second part of the question, when it comes to the most useful and realistic explanation for human development and motivation, I believe the ERG theory to be the winner. Yes, the circumstances and lives of us are all vastly different, but I do feel that these are the basic needs that drive people to do things, and whether or not we are successful at fulfilling these needs, I feel will influence our attitudes and behaviors, shaping our life experiences. Furthermore, how obtainable an individual feels these needs are will determine how someone goes about meeting the needs, creating a person's life experiences. Also, I think that the ERG theory suggesting that the needs can be completed in any order is what makes this theory a lot more realistic. Topic 3, assume you are a manager of an auto dealership and all your salespeople and employees are achieving the goals they have set for themselves in terms of weekly car sales. On the surface, this would seem to be a good thing. However, what could be the problem with this? At first glance, when you see your employees successfully meeting the goals they have set for themselves, you can only be proud and cheer them on. Because I mostly see this as a good thing, there aren't too many things I can think of that would make this a bad situation, but the first possible issue that comes to mind is that some of the employees may feel content with the goals that they have set and met. They may not feel motivated to set and achieve even higher goals than the ones that they have previously set. So these employees may need constant motivation and constant words of praise. Like being told that they are doing a good job and to continue trying to do even better. And of course, the positive feedback is like positive feedback is like positive reinforcement, which obviously is a good thing. But for some employees, if they are not being told by leadership to always set higher goals, then they won't. And they may continue to stay at one level because they may see the setting of higher goals as giving themselves extra unnecessary work, requiring more time and effort from them. Another thing is that some people are afraid of failure, and for these employees, they are going to be more likely to lack the motivation to want to set and achieve higher goals than they set for themselves in the previous week, and that's without managers and other leaderships intervening. Another thing is that no one wants to work in an environment where they feel micromanaged. No one wants to work and feel completely stripped of freedom and free will. However, I do believe that there can be too much freedom and openness in the workplace. There must be a set of boundaries that employees have to work within. So back to the situation, if employees are given complete control over setting their own weekly goals, it can potentially adversely affect the company. For some employees, once they have met their goal, that may be their stopping point, and it may just be their goal for the next week, the week after that, and so on. Unless, of course, a manager says something. So the way to remedy this is to find a sweet spot specific to the organization where you can give a set of rules but also allow the employees to act on those rules as they see fit, act around those rules as they see fit to get the task done. So for my job and for my position, we have a daily routine of things that must be completed by the end of the shift. But it's more of a list of things that I have to do within a certain amount of time. But I am given the freedom to choose how I want to go about getting those things done, even the order of how I do most of them. I've been able to come up with my own routine, so of course I don't really feel micromanaged. And furthermore, we have weekly tasks as opposed to the daily, and those are rotated depending on leaders' opinions. Unlike this particular situation, I do feel that the company I work for does a good job at making sure the employees do not become unmotivated, in some aspects at least. On to the next topic. To what extent are perceptions of procedural justice versus distributive justice a matter of perception? How could managers reduce inaccurate perceptions of workplace inequities? To answer this question, I'm just going to go over some definitions because it helps. The equity theory says that motivation is based on our perception of fairness and comparison with others. So the less valued a person feels in comparison to how much more they feel their coworker is valued, the less motivated they are likely to be. Making up the equity theory is the concept of organizational justice, which is the perception of fairness in the workplace. The two kinds of organizational justice is procedural and distributive. Procedural justice is how fair people perceive company policies and procedures to be. Distributive justice is how fair allocated outcomes are perceived. So I expect my coworker that holds the same title and position as me and who has worked at the company for the same amount of time as me to be making the same amount of money as me, not more. Especially if we are putting in the same amount of time and effort. Both procedural justice and distributive justice equally depend on a person's personal perception. Because unless you are told otherwise, you would tend to think that what you see is what you get. You are presented with a set of information, and from there you make your own perceptions. There are a few different ways that managers can reduce inaccurate perceptions of workplace inequities. The number one biggest way is communication. Making sure that everyone, employees and leaders, are on the same page will clear up a lot of misconceptions. Communicating, whether written or verbally, needs to be done in a clear and concise manner that leaves no room for interpretation. There should be no words or language that can have multiple meanings. Also, managers can talk to employees so that the employees feel heard. And if they do feel they are being treated unfairly in comparison to others, employees can feel that they have a safe place to come and talk about it, at the very least just to clear the air. Another way to induce inaccurate perceptions of workplace inequities is to be fair and consistent with all. So in regards to things like giving out assignments, dividing up work, providing training, and deciding compensation, managers need to be sure that they are addressing everyone with the same amount of time and attention. Especially when it comes to compensation, managers need to be able to put personal feelings about employees aside. Also, taking the time to accurately measure the input of employees versus the output would drastically improve how employees perceive the inequities. And this kind of goes back to the communication thing, but having like an open door policy may also help reduce inaccurately perceived inequities. So using my workplace as another example, the majority of us that have been here for years feel that it is unfair that the people we are training are being paid the same exact as us. And there's really no way for us to talk to our managers and other leaders about it, so we just do it in misery together. If there was just some policy in the workplace where we could communicate honestly, I know that I would feel more inclined to talk about why I feel I'm not being compensated fairly. And hopefully my managers will be able to clear the air and give me a reason to stay and not be on the hunt for a new job.